We're starting Be'ez Hashem Siman Kuf Samach Gimel in Vayol Moshe, and this is a new subject. It's about the Shichas Torah, the forgetting of the Torah that Chazal predicted would happen in the last generations. The Torah will eventually be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. So in order to understand this, let's take a look at the Gemara in Shabbos.
Yeah, the Gemara Shabbos, yeah.
Daf Kuf Lamed Chesed Beis, and it's page 1 in the sheets. Page 1. Go back to page 1.
Yeah.
So the Amar Rav said, "Asida Torah shetishtachach miYisrael." The Torah will one day be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. Shenemar v'hifla Hashem es makoischa. The Torah says in the end of the Toichacha, Hashem will make your curses, your makas, your plagues, unfathomable. They'll be so deep and so difficult to understand that you won't be able to even figure them out. Hafla azu en yodei mahu. I don't know what this means, that it's completely unfathomable. So ma keshuhu oimer. But now I have a pasuk in Yeshaya that explains it. Now I know what it means. Lachein hinani yosif lahafli es amazeh hafla v'fela. That I will punish these people with a hafla, which is like hiddenness, unfathomable, taking away the wisdom of Klal Yisrael. And the end of the pasuk is, the Gemara doesn't quote it, but the end of the pasuk is v'avda chachmas chachamav. The chachma of the chachamim will be lost. And have a oimer. So you see from this, hafla azu Torah. That hafla means the forgetting of the Torah. Okay. Tana Rabbanan k'shenichnesu Rabbeinu lekerem b'Yavne. When the Tanaim came into Yavne, when Rabbi Gamliel and Yochanan ben Zakkai asked Aspasianus to give him the yeshiva in Yavne, and that's where all the Tanaim went after the Churban, and they made a yeshiva there, and they came and they sat down in the kerem. It was like in rows, like a kerem. Amru asida Torah shetishtachach miYisrael. They said there will come a time when the Torah will be forgotten. Shenemar hinei yamim ba'im neum Hashem Elokim v'yishlachti rav ba'aretz. A time will come when I'll make a hunger in the land. Lo'irav lo'lechem, not a hunger for bread. V'lo'yitzam l'mayim, not a thirst for water. Kim lishmoyas divrei Hashem. But rather to listen to the words of Hashem. There'll be a thirst. In other words, they'll be looking for the words of Hashem. They won't find it. Uchsiv v'no miyam ad yam. They'll wander from sea to sea. U'mitzafen v'yad mizrach. They'll wander from the north to the east. Yeshoytetu levakesh es devar Hashem v'lo yimtzo. They'll wander to look for the words of Hashem and they won't find it. Okay? Devar Hashem, the Gemara Darshans, Devar Hashem zu halacha, means they won't find halacha. Devar Hashem zeh ha-kates, they won't find the kates, they won't understand the kates. And Devar Hashem zu nevuah. The Devar Hashem means they won't have nevuah. Umay yeshoytetu levakesh es Devar Hashem. What does it mean they'll search for the words of Hashem? So the Gemara gives an example of a shiloh that they'll have. Amru asida isha shetito kikar shel truma. When you read the shiloh, you realize it's not such a very serious loss of Torah. It's just a very detailed point that they're going to lose. Not pshat, they're going to forget the whole Torah.
It'd be like the Trum of the Maestro Divan and Halach, which are no Haganeri Yisrael, not no Bizbanazah.
So it could be that's why they'll forget it.
I mean, Bizbanazah is Derabanan actually.
Okay, but we're talking about Tuma now, which we don't keep at all today.
Right, Tuma, right. Tuma, that's...
So take a look.
Yeah.
That Asida Isha... Yeah. Shetito kikar shel truma v'tachsir v'bati knesiyos v'bati midrashis. She'll go around to all the different bati midrashim and she'll ask everybody the shaila leidim tmei hivim tohirahi. And it's talking about that there was a sheretz in the oven, and the bread was in the oven together with the sheretz. Didn't touch the sheretz, but it was in the same oven with the sheretz. So the question is the bread tamei or not? Yeah. So the Gemara says, v'ein meivinim tohirim tmei. No one's going to be able to answer her. So the Gemara asks that's not pshat, because it says that the Torah says that anything in the oven becomes tamei. The shaila will be if that bread is a rishon l'tuma or a sheni l'tuma. Ve'ein mevin, and nobody will answer. So the Gemara asks, could this none? Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you see the shaila was whether it's a rishon or a sheni, whether you say that the oven is like it's full of tuma, so it's kilo the sheretz touched the bread directly, or no, you say...
Because the law of two of the hardest law, so why is the whole Torah, if the whole Torah forgotten?
It's not the whole Torah is forgotten. It's that they won't be able to know difficult shailas like this. They won't have a clear answer to them.
Yeah, because tuma is the hardest part of the shas.
Okay, now skip down to the third to the last line. Tanya Reb Shimon ben Yochai Omer, Chas v'shalom shetishtachach Torah Yisrael. He says, no, I disagree with all what you said until now. The Torah won't be forgotten. Shenemar ki lo yishachach mipi zaroi. The Torah promises the Torah won't be forgotten. And that's why, by the way, in Meron, you have on the oil of Rosh Bar Yochai, you have that pasuk written over the door.
Oh, really?
Elamani makayim. So then, why does the Torah say? Why does the Navi say Yeshaytu levakish es devar Hashem v'lo yimso, that they'll look for the words of Hashem, they won't find it? Shelo yimsu halacha, and the rest of it is halacha brura or mishnah brura b'makom echad. They won't find a clear halacha in one place.
What does that
Which
mean?
means, Rashi says, it means there will be machlokes, and they won't know how to paskin in the machlokes. Okay? So now let's look at Vayom Moshe. V'yamru Chazal b'Shabbos Tav Kuf Lameches Omer Rav Asida Torah Shetishtach Yisrael Shenemar V'Hifla Hashem Es Makloischa Hafla Zueng Yedei Amahu. I'm just going to read it fast because we saw it already. Keshuon V'Lachein Yosef Lafli Salam Azeh Hafla V'Fela Havayom Hafla Zu Torah V'Shuv Hevi Brisa. Oh, so Rav says his drasha, and then the Gemara brings a brisa about Keren B'Yavne, that the Tanaim will say. The Tanaim said, "Asida Torah shetishtach Yisrael shenemar Hinei Yamim Ba'im Nu'um Hashem v'yishlachti Rav Baratz lo Rav Lechem lo Yikton Lamayim Kim Lishma Es Devar Hashem." Okay, Yeshoydet Du Levakish Es Devar Hashem Lo Yimso Devar Hashem Zu Halacha Devar Hashem Zu Haketz Devar Hashem Zu Nevuah. The Shuv, that's the second thing, and then after that the Gemara brings a third shita, which is Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Shuv Hevi B'Rais Reb Shimon Bar Yochai Omer Chas v'Shalom shetishtach Torah Yisrael Shneimar ki lo yishachach min Pizaroi Ela Mo'ani Mekayim. So what is the pasuk Yishoytet V'Lakish Devar Hashem Lo Yimso Shelo Yimsu Halacha Brura B'Makom Echad. They won't find halacha in one place. Pirish Rashi says halacha brura b'taimim. They won't find the reasons for the halacha to paskin with it. Shelo Yehei Ba Machlokes. That there won't be any machlokes. In other words, there will be machlokes. Okay, which is actually already fulfilled. If that's the pshat, you look in the whole Shas, pretty much every page, there's machlokes, right?
So what does it mean then?
So the Torah was forgotten already, according to this pshat of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. If Reb Shimon Bar Yochai learns that the forgetting of the Torah just means machlokes, that happened already. Okay.
Right. Well, Yavan did that. They're the ones who start all the machlokes, all because of Yavan, as I said before.
Okay, but we're going to see in the coming simanim what the Rebbe wants to do with this. He's going to ask a lot of kashas, and basically it's going to take a while until Kuf Samach.
Well, what's the Rebbe's goal?
But the goal here is that he wants to say that there are times in history when you can't trust the klal of following the roiv. Usually, machlokes is not a big problem because you could just follow the roiv. You have machlokes, good, okay, but look at the roiv and follow it. Mashenkin, in our generation, he's going to say our generation is what Chazal meant when they said the Torah will be forgotten. The Torah will be forgotten means that there'll be machlokes in such a way that we can't trust the roiv. Why not? Because we don't know who's under the influence of the people of the generation. So it could be that they're the roiv, but it could be that they're not reliable because they're just going after the spirit of the times, and they're not really saying a Torah opinion.
Yeah.
So the only way to know what a real Torah opinion is to look at the previous generations. That's what Chazal
like
say.
Those who justify the Erev say our times, Rosh Hashanah are totally batta, we will a different time.
So therefore,
it's like that.
Right. So therefore, the only way to know the truth is to look at the previous door. So that's what he wants to do with all this. So machlokes is okay, but machlokes in such a situation where you don't know what to follow because there's nobody who's not under the influence of the door, that you have to look at the previous one. Okay. So we have to understand here the l'chayra elu ashtei brises. These two brises in the Gemara. The first brisa with the Keren B'Yavne, which is in the time of Reb Yochanan ben Zakkai, right after the Churban, and the second brisa is Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, right? Who said that the Torah won't be forgotten.
It was Rav who said it, though.
Then Rav is the third one. Rav is the Moira.
But he still was able to argue with the Tana. We know that Rav was great enough to argue with the Tana.
That's not going to be the issue here. But we have two brises of Tanaim of Reb Yochanan ben Zakkai's time, and then we have like about 60, 70 years later Reb Shimon Bar Yochai's time, and then after that we have Rav's time. Okay, so the two brises, Elu Ashtei brises, Pligi, the Firusha Dekra, the Yeshayt to the Vakish Devar Hashem. They're arguing what the pasuk means in Amos when it says that they'll wander around to look for the Devar Hashem. That the Tanakama or the Tana of the Keren B'Yavne says that what does it mean? It means that they'll look for the Devar Hashem v'lo yimso, means they'll forget the halacha. They'll forget the case of the bread in the oven, whether it's a rishon or a sheni. They'll forget the halacha. For Rashbi, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, Torah liyashiv mikrazeh. He has to explain the pasuk differently because he holds the Torah won't be forgotten. They'll remember whether the bread is a rishon or sheni. So what's the pasuk mean? They'll look for the Dvar Hashem. She'ein raya misham al shivchas haTorah. It doesn't prove that the Torah will be forgotten, but rather it means machlokes. Right? There'll be machlokes. V'Rav chidesh lilmoid shivchas haTorah mikra achrina. Then comes along Rav, another 100 years later, and he learns out that the forgetting of the Torah will happen from a different pasuk. The Hifla Hashem. The Goymer, Hifla Hashem is Makoischa. Shaloi nizkar be'elu ashtei brises. And that pasuk is not mentioned by any of the Tanaim in the brises. The Kasha l'choyer mikra zeh al Rashbi. So this pasuk is going to be shver on Reb Shimon. Because Reb Shimon, Bar Yochai, he says, okay, I hold the Torah won't be forgotten. Your pasuk in Amos that says they'll look for the Dvar Hashem and they won't find it, that means machlokes. Good, that's what he answers to the other Tanaim. But what if he would be around in Rav's time? What would he answer to Rav's pasuk? V'hifla Hashem es makoischa. Rav's saying a good rise. So what's Reb Shimon going to answer on that? Okay, Gam kasha tuva. We have another big problem here. Deloi mishani hashas midi ala brisa. V'Rav the sabri yasi the Torah shetistakach ma yasu bahach kra deloi si shachach mipi zaroi. That you see, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai brought a pasuk that the Torah won't be forgotten from the mouth of its descendants. Right? That pasuk proves the Torah won't be forgotten. So the Gemara should have gone back and said, okay, so then what did the Keren B'Yavne Tanoim hold of that? Why did they say to that pasuk? And what does Rav say? But Keren B'Yavne Tanoim, maybe they weren't around, but Rav was around. Why did Rav argue on the pasuk Lo Yisi Shachim Pizar? What does he do with it? Shalom ad Rashbi K'moisha Derech Hashas. Yeah, the Rishon Bar Yochai learns from. K'moisha Derech Hashas Lahakshos B'chol Makom V'idach. Like the Gemara always asks, whenever it has a machlokes and one side brings a pasuk, the Gemara always goes back and says, what did the other side do with that side's pasuk? The Gemara always answers up what each side will do with the other side's proof. So here the Gemara doesn't do that. Just want to mention one thing. Look in the Hakdama by Yoel Moshe. First paragraph, he already starts on this subject. He says, Gam niskayim ba v'neseinu rabim b'mloi muvan amila masha omer akasa v'hifla Hashem es makoischa. That in this generation we have shichkas haTorah, as it says in the pasuk v'hifla Hashem es makoischa. Hafla v'fela v'avda chachmas chachamav. The wisdom of the chachamim is gone. Ubinas nevoin of tistater. The understanding of the understanding people is also gone. Chikinu le'eis marpei v'hineva asa. We waited for a healing time, and really it's just more fear. So he already is meramis to this part of the Sefer in Akdama. I think he wrote the Akdama after he wrote the Sefer. Pretty much clear when you read the Akdama, you see that he wrote this first, and he went back and he wrote this to be meramis to the things that he's going to discuss in the Sefer.